So Walmart, Costco, and Target stores in these areas are barred from selling non-essential items. To help reduce foot traffic amid the coronavirus pandemic, some local governments have ordered Walmart, Target, Costco, and other big box retailers to stop selling non-essential items in stores. Last week, Vermont's Agency of Commerce and Community Development directed big box retailers to stop in-store sales of non-essential items, some of which include arts and crafts, beauty, clothing, consumer electronics, entertainment, books, music, movies, carpet and flooring, furniture, home and garden, jewelry, paint, photo services, sports equipment, and toys. To enforce the orders, stores must restrict access to non-essentials by closing aisles or removing the items from the floor. According to the press release, customers can purchase non-essential items online, by phone, or through curbside pickup. Large big box retailers generate significant shopping traffic by virtue of their size and the variety of goods ordered in a single location. Agency of Commerce and Community Development Secretary Lindsay Curl said in the press release. This volume of shopping traffic significantly increases the risk of further spread of this dangerous virus to Vermonters and the viability of Vermont's healthcare system. In March, the Board of Commissioners in Howard County, Indiana, also prohibited retailers in the area from selling non-essential items. Business Insider reports. According to the statement, the board adopted the ordinance because businesses that were deemed non-essential complained that retailers selling both essential and non-essential items were allowed to remain open and sell non-essential items. There were also complaints from store employees who claimed that customers were coming to the stores because they were bored, only buying non-essential items and creating longer lines. Business Insider found reports that Summit County, Colorado, and Springfield, Missouri have also restricted retailers from selling non-essential items. That makes no sense to me. That's absolutely stupid. I'm glad that to this point, I have not seen anything like that happen in London, Ontario. In London, Ontario, across the province of Ontario and pretty much probably all of Canada, only essential businesses are allowed to open. So essential retail businesses are places like Walmart, supermarkets, Giant Tiger, which is like a smaller version of Walmart, Dollarama, which is a dollar store that also sells a lot of grocery items and toiletries. If you can go to, the thing that makes no sense to me, like in Vermont, for example, so you can go to those stores, you can say go to Walmart and pick up your groceries and your medical items. But if you want to buy clothing or shoes or anything else that they sell at Walmart that's deemed non-essential, you can't walk into Walmart and purchase it the way you can purchase your grocery and medical items. So basically, you have to purchase your grocery and medical items, and then if you want non-essential items like, say, clothing, you have to either purchase it online or by phone, and then pick it up at the curbside. In other words, at the front door of the store without going in. That makes no sense to me. Why would you not be able to purchase other items like clothing, shoes, toys, and everything else that Walmart sells while you're purchasing your groceries and purchasing your medical items in that same trip? And that's another thing I'd like to dispute. What they deem as non-essential. To me, clothing is a pretty essential item. It is one of the bare necessities of life. You need clothing to go out in public. You can't go out in public naked because A, it's usually too cold to do that, and B, you'd get arrested for committing an indecent act. So how can they deem clothing and shoes, for example, non-essential items when you need them to function in your day-to-day life? If you're allowed to go into those stores, you should be able to purchase anything that's sold in those stores. The only restrictions you should have on making purchases in a store like, say, Walmart, is I can understand underagers. I can understand children and teenagers not being able to purchase things like alcohol, cigarettes, vaping pens, cannabis, and weapons, firearms, ammunition, stuff like that. And then for things like firearms and ammunition, if you need a special permit or license to purchase those, then yeah, you shouldn't be able to purchase those unless you have the proper credentials for that. Or, to purchase fireworks. I can understand if you need to be 18 or older to purchase fireworks, for example. Other than that, there should be no... And I can understand quantity restrictions as well, too, because I know that there's been some pretty bad situations with people hoarding and buying a lot more items than they really need to be buying, such as people buying ridiculous amounts of toilet paper, buying ridiculous amounts of hand sanitizer. So I can understand them restricting quantities of certain items. But apart from that, you should be able to buy any item in that store as long as that store is allowed to remain open. And to me, Walmart is an essential store, as well as Target. Down in the States anyways, Target's pretty similar to Walmart, so Target should be allowed to remain open as well too. And Costco, for that matter, should also be allowed to remain open. I hate Costco, but they also sell a lot of essential items too. So in those stores that sell essential items, if you can shop in them to buy essential items, you should also be allowed to shop to buy non-essential items. It just makes no sense to me that you can go in to buy essential items, but then if you want non-essential items, you have to purchase those separately online or by phone and then pick them up at the front door. That to me is just stupid. Like, that reminds me of a time I used to live in Brantford, Ontario, Canada. Brantford's about 100 kilometers from Toronto. Anyways, I remember going into a Shoppers Drug Mart drugstore in Brantford on New Year's Day one year. And this Shoppers Drug Mart had a very small grocery section. Like, they had a very small section that sold things like frozen foods, refrigerated foods, and I think they might have sold some canned and packaged goods as well too. Well, I remember at this Shoppers Drug Mart on New Year's Day, this section was roped off, and there was a sign up saying, due to local bylaws, we're not allowed to sell items in this closed section on statutory holidays. And I remember thinking to myself how stupid that was. You can go into Shoppers Drug Mart to buy other items, but you can't buy grocery items on stat holidays? To me, that's just dumb. And this is no different. So thankfully, in London, Ontario, and across the whole province of Ontario, at least, if you go into a Walmart store, Dollarama, or a supermarket, thankfully you're allowed to buy all the items there unless there's specific restrictions on particular items that you have to be a certain age to possess, or particular restrictions that you have to have special credentials to possess. And that's the way it should be. If you can shop at that store, you should have access to to every item that's sold in that store. Not only what somebody deems as essential items. And these jurisdictions that are putting those restrictions on, I think that's just absolutely stupid. And in my opinion, they need to reverse those restrictions.